Und damit ein herzliches Willkommen zurück zur letzten Aufnahmesession von The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, beziehungsweise auch von The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles an sich. Danach wird es kein Great Ace Attorney mehr geben. Wir haben jetzt den finalen Fall, der auch sehr passend heißt The Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, die Entschlossenheit von Ryunosuke Naruhodo, unserem Hauptcharakter. Und ja, Kazuma Asogi ist zurück als Staatsanwalt. Barock van Zieks, der eigentliche Staatsanwalt, ist angeklagt, Tobias Gregson ermordet zu haben. Den Inspektor, der uns über diese Spieleserie immer mal wieder geholfen oder auch nicht geholfen hat. Und wir haben jetzt herausgefunden, dass Tobias Gregson als Reaper agiert hat, mehr oder weniger, und Kazuma Asogi, niemand geringeren als Kazuma Asogi, unseren besten Freund, der wieder von den Toten quasi zurückgekehrt ist, als Assassin eingestellt hat, um Seshiro Jigoku zu töten, den Richter aus Japan, der uns im ersten Fall von Adventures schlussendlich freigesprochen hat, der auch ein Freund von Yujin Mikotoba ist und von Genshin Asogi, dem Professor, dem Massenmörder. Und Yujin Mikotoba ist auch der eigentliche Vater von Sherlock Holmes. Ich weiß noch nicht, ob er auch der eigentliche Vater von Iris Wilson ist, das bin ich mir noch nicht sicher. Aber ja, Sherlock und wie heißt er jetzt? Mikotoba haben herausgefunden, dass der Seshiro Jigoku, den wir in den Zeugenstand rufen wollten, beziehungsweise erstmal confirmen wollten, ob der noch lebt oder schon tot ist, wollten den finden und haben den auch gefunden an Bord der SS Grouse, wenn ich mich nicht... Hieß es Grouse? Auf jeden Fall an Bord eines Dampfschiffs, was natürlich ein Callback ist an den ersten Fall, wo Sherlock Holmes aufgetreten ist, wo Kazuma gestorben ist. Und war sehr cool. Wir haben ihn schlussendlich gefunden. Er war auf der Rückreise von London, weil er Angst hatte, von dem Reaper geholt zu werden, weil er selbst mal on trial war für den Zeugenstand, den er zerbrochen hat, weil er ein bisschen wütend war, weil er Genshin Asogi helfen wollte. Und er wurde freigesprochen, nachdem er eine Summe bezahlt hat. Und der Reaper hat diesen Fall auch prosecuted. Das heißt, eigentlich müsste er tot sein. Eigentlich, beziehungsweise macht Sinn, dass er Angst hat davor, vor seinem Henker letztendlich, vor dem Reaper. Und in seinem Raum war ein Einschussloch. Und ich bin mir jetzt nicht ganz sicher, ob Tobias Gregson, der ja auch auf dem Steamship war, der Tag bevor er getötet worden ist, zumindest laut dem Autopsie-Report. Ich denke mal, er wurde tatsächlich einen Tag vorher getötet, war er drauf. Und Kazuma Asogi war da auch drauf. Ich habe jetzt zwei Suspects, zwei Verdächtige. Ich denke, entweder es war Judge Jigoku, also der Richter aus Japan, oder Ace Attorney folgt tatsächlich der altbekannten Formel des schuldigen Staatsanwalts, der letztendlich im letzten Fall eingeführt ist. Und Kazuma hat tatsächlich als Assassine nicht Jigoku getötet oder wollte ihn töten, sondern hat tatsächlich Gregson getötet. Dafür sprechen würde, dass in dem Koffer von Gregson ein Stück von der Klinge von Kazuma, von Karuma, dem Schwert, stecken geblieben ist, was noch nicht erklärt wurde bisher, weil Kazuma dazu auch sein Recht ausübt zu schweigen. Oder es ist der Richter, weil in seinem Raum ein ziemlich großes Chaos war und da auch eine Einschlagsspur von einem Dings ist, von einer Pistole. Und was ich noch ganz vergessen habe, Lord Strongheart ist der Richter in diesem Fall und nicht der normale grauhaarige Richter, was auch sehr spannend ist. Vielleicht ist es auch Lord Strongheart und sie bambuseln uns alle, weil Lord Strongheart hat immer eine sehr, ehrwürdige beängstigende Präsenz, würde ich sagen. Deswegen kann das auch sein, dass er das ist, aber ich weiß es nicht. Das sind so jetzt meine Theorien, die jetzt das letzte Mal aufgestellt wurden, bevor wir jetzt die Conclusion quasi sehen, die noch, denke ich, sehr lange dauern wird. Wir haben jetzt 23:43 Uhr. Es ist eigentlich viel zu spät für sowas. Für sowas. Ich werde heute nicht lange schlafen, das weiß ich jetzt schon. Ich werde es auch morgen bereuen. Vielleicht auch nicht. Vielleicht werde ich es auch nicht bereuen, weil das Spiel ist nice bisher. Der letzte Fall hier gefällt mir bisher auch viel, viel besser als der letzte Fall von Adventures. Weil hier hast du wirklich das Final-Feeling. Es fühlt sich nicht gestretched an bis jetzt. Und es ist wirklich da. Es ist wirklich, wirklich da. Und das, ja, haben sie bei Adventures nicht so das Gefühl. Aber wir werden jetzt sehen, wie es weitergeht. Vielleicht ändert sich meine Meinung ja auch nochmal. Also, continue. The Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo Investigation Part 1. Start playing from the saved game data. Yes. Ich bin gespannt. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a claimer around the courtroom. Genau, wir haben jetzt angehalten, weil wir erfahren haben, dass Jigoku tatsächlich noch lebt. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Schoens and his partner returned to Baker Street. 3rd November, 8:07 p.m. Shum Street. Okay, es ist schon spät. We have returned, my dear fellows. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I, no? You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. So this prosecutor, Azogi, had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertained the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse. When all this started, almost a year ago now. Mr. Shum still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie. Stimmt. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Well, it is another country, Mr. Schoens. So, what news of Judge Jigoku? We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikotoba. This must be quite a shock for him. Ah, yes, I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the matter only yesterday. You put upon me, Mr. Schoens. You had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. Oh, you've had a reply already. What was so urgent though, Mr. Schoens? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone. Yo, da wird sich aber richtig gegönnt da im Hintergrund. Ah, and what a feast it is. If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak, and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up! In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with the helping of pheasant as well. Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there. Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening? Yes, and that place is for Susie Steady. For me? That's right, I meant especially for you, Professor Mickey. Professor Mickey. I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. A shame, really. What do you mean? Well, for a brief moment I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean. Oh! Hat sie das mitgekriegt? Iris, do you mean... Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. Oh shit. I secretly listened into the conversation you had, after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left. What? Damn, Iris. I mean, on the other side, würde man's vielleicht so ähnlich machen, ne? The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikoto are Iris' father. Sondern? Yes, about that, Iris. You know, Nine! I know, you can't tell me at the moment. 9. Oh, Iris. Wer ist ihr Vater? Ich dachte gerade kurz... The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping. Pheasant ist Truthahn, ne? Also, nur zur Erklärung. Oh, no, that's quite alright. Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant? So just who is Iris' father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. So then, let us dine. While our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. Was ist Pheasant? Pheasant. Fasan. Okay, ja doch, Fasan. Also das Geflügelviech da hinten. A fine idea, Schoens. It all looks absolutely delicious. Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds. This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. About the telegram from Japan, and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. Okay. Dann gehen wir mal mit Hurlock, der da sehr chillig liegt. Mr. Shums, what are you doing? Was ist jetzt schon wieder? Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes. Huh. Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy. Das ist doch genug für alle da, oder nicht? Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer. Mr. Schoens, could I discuss some things with you? Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you are hungry to learn more of my deep love of game. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. Of game, okay? You needn't look at me in that fashion. In what fashion? It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. Converse. The telegram from Japan. So, what wasn't the telegram you received back from Japan then? Ah, this! I thank my lucky stars it arrived in time. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. Das ist die Liste. Das ist die Liste von dem Ende von Adventures. Well, those 4 names. We've come across that exact same list before. They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be a masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involves the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states, and exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked. We deciphered a fragment of a message. K. Azogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So, why are the names coming up again now? Yes! Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Schoens? I have here a message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. Wurde das an Judge Jigoku geschickt? List of 4 names. Need by tomorrow. Naruhodo. I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. Clandestine? Clandestine. Geheim, okay. Geheime Mission. You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake some onerous task for you. And in my name. Hosonaga, ja stimmt! Die gibt's ja noch. I wonder what guys he opted for this time. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand? Anyway, the list of names was found in Sashiro's office, as Schoens predicted. So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Jigoku! He was the intended recipient. I don't believe it. But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. I did formulate a hypothesis about that. But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it. Mr. Shums looks deadly serious for once. The telegram from Japan has been entered into the court record. A telegram from Inspector Hosonaga in Japan with details of the telegram he managed to locate by stealing into Judge Jigoku's office. Okay. Record found as indicated. Duplicate follows. K. Azogi, Ashin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson, Hosonaga. Okay. Kazumas death. Ich befürchte, wir werden aber nicht mehr erfahren, warum Hosonaga so einen Husten hat. Warum er Blut hustet. Das hätte ich gerne noch erfahren, aber ich glaube, das passt nicht mehr in diesen Fall rein. The tragedy we had to go through on the SS Boya. It was all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't dead at all. We are completely taken in by the lie you told us. You're a great detective, Sly. I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cause. Bitte was? What? I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Mr. Sato. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead. Oh my, you mean... The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Azogi, I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Kazuma coming to Britain? That's why you... Think back, Mr. Naruhodo. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? Das war er. Well, nee, das war Hosonaga. Oder? Ich weiß es gerade gar nicht. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Departments of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know, Kiambas Herlock. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Schoens. We know of no other lawyer. The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. So, you manipulated me. I've often remarked on the extraordinary length to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. I don't believe it. But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her? Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her. Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. I wonder if she made it to America then. Damn, Herlocks Masterplan einfach. Aber warum? Warum? I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such length, Mr. Schoens? Why were you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain? The truth is, 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see? Oh! An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand. An omen? An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago, is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Schoens knows. Okay. Present. Drill itinerary. A notice about the practice of caution to be carried out by the crew of the SS Grouse the night before the ship arrived in Nova. It was found in Judge Shigoku's cabin. Following departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 PM in order to review evacuation procedures. The drill will take 20 minutes. Crew to resume duties as soon as the drill is over. Okay, aber das hier... You see these little things all over the place, don't you? It's a part on top of Pocket Watch that you twist to set the time, isn't it? It's called the crown, I believe. A watch would be quite useless without... Von einer Taschenuhr... Okay, the crown, like what sits on top of a monarch's head, has a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually... Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? If this is a crown, I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here somewhere with a very bare head. If a monarch you mean pocket watch, then I'm quite sure you have. Okay. Also das ist vielleicht gar nicht die Taschenuhr von Gregson, sondern von Jigoku? There was no room for doubt with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Shums. You were very clear that it was Judge Jigoku's office that should be searched, so you obviously knew that's where the list of names would be found. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we only learned of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top secret government communications that were leaked. That's true, yes. But at the time, you were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that. Approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. Okay. For names from Wire to Japan. Yes, by the time you were unaware of the background, and only because they appeared as part of the top secret government communications that were leaked. On 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for accepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments. Okay. You're perpetually doing what? How? Perpetually heißt hier und da oder? Ständig, okay. Never mind the details, but you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Schoens when he has designs on knowing it. Oh my, Mr. Schoens, what a fabulous line! Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. As soon as I learned of the incident, the hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow. Mr. Schoens, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they are all somehow connected. Ich glaube, es hat was mit dem Reaper zu tun. The 4 names. Endlich bekommen wir die Wahrheit. As I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. Because, you see, there was someone else on the list, who I believed to be recently deceased. What? Who? A Shin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. An actual fact, Miss Asa Shum. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes. Oh, I see. But she had completely vanished from her existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list. Kayazogi and T. Gregson. Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest if young Azogi were to stay away from Britain. So that's why you went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead. Exactly. So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Schoens? Oh yes, Schoens and I have exchanged correspondence for years. I'd recounted many tales about Azogi to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. Oh no. So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know. Oh, Iris. I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That's very sad. I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. Das ist jetzt der Reveal für sie, dass Wilson tot ist? Okay, es macht schon Sinn, weil es nicht ihr echter Vater ist. Wer auch immer das ist. Aber ich hätte mir mehr drunter vorgestellt. Naja. No. But what you just told us, Mr. Schoens, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis. A big hole, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, yes. You mean about Aida Shin, I presume. Oh, of course. Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Brett. I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel. Ah! And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that it formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy. What? Topsy? Topsy hypothesis. What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Schoens? Wait, ich hab ne Vermutung. Gucken wir mal an. K. Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. A. Shin hat J. Wilson umgebracht. Und K. Asogi? Ich glaube, man versteht meinen Point, ne? Ich glaube, man versteht meinen Point. Und der Richter hat auch dann was damit zu tun. What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Schoens? I had believed all 4 names on the list to be the name of victims. However, I was mistaken. Very much so. Asa Shin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed, and it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting student status being merely a front. Ah! Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions. So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Asa Shin is because he was a target of an assassination. And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective. What do you mean? Ich weiß, was meint. Well, does it not strike you? There's another among the 4, who subsequently became a visiting student. Oh nein. Wait, you mean... But of course, a name you know only too well. You mean Kazuma? Oh, he did say in court earlier today. Yes, on 31st October I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. Und die Mark war nicht die Goku, sondern war Tobias Gregson, der hatte Erfolg. Young Mr. Asogi accepted that mission a year ago now. Surely not. In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say. Detailing an assassin exchange. An assassin exchange? How could Kazuma possibly have got involved in something like that? Assassin exchange. Let's assume that we have 2 parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those 2 parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. That would be an assassination exchange. Aber warum Gregson und warum Wilson? So to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then, the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain, in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange. But what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction. Thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Okay. That's something in exchange. True. Oh yes! Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our 2 countries. So the fact that it was brought into place suggests intervention at the very highest levels. The highest levels? These murders were 2 sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive, but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular, devilish scheme. that disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. But wait a minute, Schoens. If this telegram really is describing the exchange of assassins and as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. It would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Kazuma was here for Gregson? So Judge Jigoku wasn't actually the man. Yes, that's exactly what it would mean. Well. Kazuma sieht immer schuldiger aus. Meine Theorie sieht immer relevanter, immer, wie heißt es? Immer logischer, immer wahrscheinlicher. I held myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe. Mr. Shums. I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Obviously, with a young pickpocket in tow. Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition, that he'd be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him. But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last. This is too much to take in. Alright everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Hurley? I mean, look at the time. Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow. What preparations? Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel room now. It has certainly been a night to remember. It is. A little bit sad though. I mean, I liked the idea of you being my daddy. Because then, Susie would have been my big sister. I'm sorry, Iris. Na, sie sind ja so auch wie Schwestern, ne? I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. Were you? But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. So, you teach me all the ways you know to throw Runa to the floor. Yes, of course. It would be my pleasure. You didn't have to agree quite so readily. Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, you could be my big brother if you want to, you know. Huh? I mean, yes, of course. If you have me, I'd gladly be your brother. Well done, Iris. You must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well. Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally. Okay. Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now. Because it's for my big brother and sister. What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what? Hehe. You'll just have to wait and see. Oh. Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. I'll do my very best, of course. So the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point. Exposing new truth, exposing new conundrums. That list of 4 names in the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office. And the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world, standing steadfastly behind me. Krieg ich schon wieder ein bisschen Gänsehaut, ein bisschen creepy in den Augen. To be continued. Okay. Ich denke mal, es war das letzte Mal in Shums Büro. In Shums Suite. Save your current progress. Yes. Okay, Leute. Jetzt wird's ernst. Finally, we solve a weird Naruto. Ich glaube, das wird jetzt wirklich das Finale. Jetzt wird's ernst. Aber so richtig. Ich bin bereit. Ich hoffe, ihr auch.